Good evening, and welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District regular board meeting. Today is Monday, December 18th, 2023. I call this evening's meeting to order. Mr. Ogle, can I have roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Isom, Ms. King,
Here.
Ms. Morrison,
Here.
Ms. Thomas,
Here.
Mrs. Daniels.
Here. At this time, can I have a motion to adopt this evening's agenda as presented?
Madam President,
Ms. King?
I'd like to make an amendment, proposing an amendment. 9.1, I would like to add, under recommended action, I would like to propose that it read, it is recommended the board approve holding the organizational meeting on January 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. and appoint the treasurer, so insert the treasurer as the president pro tempore for the meeting until such time as a new president is appointed. So inserting the treasurer.
So will there be a motion to amend the agenda? Yes. So I have a motion to amend tonight's agenda at 9.1 to amend to read to appoint the treasurer as the president pro tempore for the January 8th, 2024 organizational meeting. That motion was made by Ms. King. Is there a second to that motion to amend tonight's agenda? Second. Mr. Ogle, the motion to amend tonight's agenda as it relates to item 9.1, as stated before, was moved by Ms. King, and second by Ms. Thomas. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels.
Yes. Can I have a motion to accept the amended agenda, correct?
Since you adopted the agenda, you amended and adopted, I believe you're good with the roll call.
Okay. At this time, we're going to have a moment of silence. And after the moment of silence, we will have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Board Member Ashley Thomas. Moment of silence. If you could please rise, Ms. Thomas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from our November 20th meeting as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ogle, that was moved by Ms. King and second by Ms. Morrison. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas, Mrs. Daniels.
Yes. At this time, I'll do my board president's report. Good evening. I would like to first take the time out to thank Ms. Tranter and her staff, students, and families for hosting the December board meeting, the December Board of Education meeting at our Maple Leaf School. The Board of Education relished in the opportunity to have our meetings within the very buildings that educate and cultivate our scholars every day. I would like to extend a special congratulations to the entire staff here at Maple Leaf for winning the Fall into Perfect Attendance contest. We appreciate each one of you showing up every day for every child together. Thank you and congratulations. The sights and sounds of the holiday season are all around us, and on behalf of the Board of Education, I thank our students and our staff for the cheer they bring to our buildings each day. Please enjoy your holiday break. Take time to truly reflect on the blessings that we all have, including family and friends. And as I have seen time and time again in our school district, be willing to help those in need. I am constantly reminded by our Garfield Heights City Schools that we are the heart of the community and that we will fully prepare students to pursue their dreams and give back as engaged citizens and future leaders. When was this most on display? Certainly on the occasions when our students have the chance to meaningfully interact with our community in an engaged manner, such as during Mr. Parad's visit to the Senior Center last week. The students were amazing. Even though the students were singing songs, so much more was taking place. A connection of generations was underway. A demonstration that things our students are doing in the classroom and in the community does have meaning and value. On behalf of the Board of Education, thank you to Dr. Reynolds and his staff for identifying opportunities when our students can positively interface with the community and show everyone how special the Garfield Heights City Schools and our students are to our city. Plenty of opportunities for the community to involve themselves in our schools exist as well. As Dr. Reynolds placed an all call for volunteers who wish to spend time in the buildings earlier this fall. Another opportunity has emerged with the Top Dog Initiative. If you are a father figure, or male mentor of some regard, please contact Gina Wilson to learn more information about how you can get involved. The Garfield Heights City School needs engaged parents and especially fathers and father figures to be successful. And this is your chance to play a more active role. Initiatives like the Top Dog and Stay in the Game help to encourage our children. We need the community and our families to recognize this and to take advantage of these programs and opportunities. Then, and only then, we will begin to realize our district's vision, that we will become a premier educational institution, recognized throughout the state of Ohio for equipping students with the tools and resources they need. Please join us on this mission and on this vision. With this, I conclude my report, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a blessed New Year's. Thank you, and this concludes my report. Is there any questions regarding the board president's report this evening? If there's no questions regarding the board president's report, we will move to our committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening?
Madam President,
Ms. King.
I have a legislative liaison report.
Ms. King?
The legislative team met this afternoon, and we will be having our Meet the Legislator event, and it will be held on March 15th in the Little Theater. We do not have a time yet. We will get more details out to the board as we solidify those details. The General Assembly sent House Bill 68, sponsored by Representative Gary Plitt, to Governor DeWine for his action. The bill would prohibit certain procedures to alter a minor child's sex, and would designate this act as the Ohio Saving Adolescents from Experimentation Act. The bill includes House Bill 6, which would enact the Save Women's Sports Act to require schools, state institutions of higher education, and private colleges to designate separate single-sex teams and sports for each sex. The State School Board of Education voted to appoint Paul Kraft, superintendent, and he's from Buckeye Valley Local in Delaware County, as the next state superintendent of public instruction. Kraft will begin his new post on January 1st, 2024. Sally Green, the incoming president of OSDA, is having a celebration of public education on January 7th at Tuscaloosa Middle School. I emailed invitations to all of you this afternoon. With that, I wish everyone a great and happy holiday season. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. King. Is there any questions regarding the legislative committee report this evening? If there's no questions regarding the legislative committee report, is there any other reports this evening?
Madam President, I have a wellness liaison report.
Ms. Morrison?
Their recent purchases was some fan gear to sell at home games. They implemented a athletic study table that started in November, and these study sessions offer additional help after school twice a week for our struggling student athletes. Attendance is mandatory for those student athletes. On December 5th, coaches and members of winter sports and activities conducted a special visit to William Foster, Elmwood, and Maple Leaf. Their objective was to engage with the children, read to them, and highlight the importance of academics. Additionally, they motivated the youth to engage in sports and activities. In boys basketball, we currently hold the #1 ranking in Northeast Ohio and are 6-0 on the season. Girls basketball has achieved a 5-2 season record and will be playing at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on December 20th. And wrestling recently participated in their second tournament of the season, and many of our wrestlers secured placements. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Is there any questions regarding the wellness report this evening? Is there any other committee reports?
Madam President, I have a report.
Ms. Thomas?
I have a report for Cuyahoga Valley Commissioner from our December meeting. We got a strategic plan update. Those updates included the acceptance of a Super Rapids award, which gave us $266,000 for new adult education equipment. Of course, any equipment that we buy for our adult programs is also used for our high school programs. Our cellular technician programs are now accredited, so those will be gearing up for the fall. We also received a $9 million continuing tech education grant. For our superintendent, his charges for this upcoming strategic plan include improving or continuing to improve quality instruction, community involvement, and fiscal responsibility. He also discussed a promotional track for our staff and employees at CDCC. He discussed the possibility of our career specialists changing from part-time to full-time. So those are the positions that we have in our building for this district who partners with CDCC. We discussed the need for a power generator at CDCC. And lastly, we discussed our upcoming renovations. Our culinary program has decided not to undergo a full renovation of their space, but they'll get all updated equipment. And we were able to move our cosmetology update to 2026. Currently we have 2 cosmetology classrooms, and as we undergo the renovations, one of those classrooms will not be available for use. So we discussed the implications regarding only having access to one cosmetology room. And then lastly, we are in the works of adding a parts and environmental resources program. Every time we add a new program, it definitely takes a few years for it to get going, but we do plan to apply for a grant for the equipment that will be needed for that new program. Then they also shared some ideas about adding a veterinary science program and outdoor construction program as well. As far as our board agenda, we approved an adult education director. We had a discussion about adding the evening safety position as our evening classes are becoming more popular. It might be beneficial for us to have someone on staff in the evenings. And then we also got a business and finance committee update. For CDCC, we celebrated Board Appreciation Month a month early, so we celebrated in December as some of our members don't return in January. And so I got a really amazing card from our sports medicine and exercise science students, and that brings me to my student connection of the month, who is Alice Rodriguez Maldonado. She is a junior here at our high school and enrolled in our sports medicine and exercise science program. She is an athlete, and she has a passion for helping others. She was very excited when she found out that CDCC offered a sports medicine and exercise science program. Her instructor, Mr. Fahey, says that Alice is an outstanding student who is always prepared for class. She puts her best effort forward on all assignments and lab situations. She comes to class with a smile every day and consistently handles herself in a professional manner. She really appreciates that CDCC has allowed her to look at school differently. With all of the hands-on learning and being in an engaging setting that makes sense to her, she now enjoys her time at school. After graduation, she plans to attend college, ideally out of state, with hopes of playing volleyball and majoring in sports medicine or physical therapy. A quote from Allie: "Put in the work and find something that you are actually interested in, because CDCC will allow you to get a head start on your career. My time in CDCC has made me work harder and ultimately made me become a better version of myself that I'm proud of." Outside of academics, she's on the varsity volleyball team at our high school and enjoys playing and watching sports. Keep up the great work. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Is there any questions regarding Ms. Thomas' report this evening? If there's no questions, is there any other committee reports? If there's no other committee reports, we will move to our presentations on our agenda, and I will turn this over to Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we'll be receiving an update on the great work that's been happening here at Maple Leaf with Ms. Tranter and her team.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Reynolds. Welcome to Maple Leaf. Our presentation this evening will include, of course, academics, community involvement, and special programs that we have here at Maple Leaf. When we opened the doors this fall to start our new 405 building, our main focus was safety, a changing culture, and of course, our academics. We concentrated on building a safe, inclusive culture of achievement, which allows our students to take ownership of their learning. This ownership includes the students knowing their stories. You have the story sheet in front of you. It's their map scores. If you turn it around, when they took their map test in the fall, they each had one of those sheets and the teacher filled them out with them, with the goal of how many points they would need to reach the spring test in order to pass. So the students are taking ownership of their learning. If you ask them, do you know your story? They'll say, yeah, well, wait a minute, let me go get it. But they know their story. And on the back of that sheet is their attendance, where they are taking ownership of the days that they miss in school. Our teachers are planning content that's rigorous, with grade level standards at the forefront. They're planning for higher level questioning in their lesson plans that include learning intentions and success criteria. From this, our students know what they're learning and why they are learning it. It's on the board, they can state it. If you go in a classroom and you ask them, most of the time, I'll say again, they will tell you what the learning intention is and why they are learning it. All our teachers' instructional practices include common assessments, small group instructions, differentiation, and higher level questioning, with the Teacher Clarity book as their guide. With all those things that I just mentioned, I'd like to acknowledge one of our teachers, Mrs. Mullins. She won the first District Innovation Award here this year. If you go in her classroom, any day of the week, any time of the day, you will see all those things I just mentioned going on in her room. It truly is a delight to visit her classroom. I've been in teaching an awful long time in education. I go in there and I still walk out with, oh my gosh, it's all. So we were pretty proud of Ms. Mullins for winning that award. I'd like to talk about student attendance. It seems to be a little bit of a passion of mine. My passion about student attendance, my motto is, if you're not here, you're not going to learn. And you could never replace the teacher's instruction that they give you on a daily basis. You can make up the work, but you don't make up the instruction. So to improve attendance, we have an intervention team set up. We meet weekly. We meet with students. We meet with parents. We make phone calls. We send out letters. And I do a daily attendance check in the lunchroom that I'll discuss a little bit later in a different slide. Now, Mr. Glazer's going to talk about CRS, and then Dr. Price is going to talk about PBIS.
Good evening, everybody. So as Ms. Schreiner mentioned, our students know their story. In addition to the math data, we're also working on common assessments in the classrooms. So one positive out of the building realignment, as you know, we have all 4th and 5th graders here at Maple Leaf. So now that also means all of our teachers across the district are under one group. And it makes it easier for them to collaborate, talk about instructional practices, talk about students, talk about data. We have our students are tested here, both all of our 4th and 5th graders are tested in ELA and math, and then all of our 5th graders are also tested in science. One of the tools we use for common assessments, a new tool that's come up by the state, it's called CRS. Last year, our students took benchmarks. They were called checkpoints. Those were tests that mimic the state tests that they take in the spring. kind of as a checkpoint to see where they were along the way. New this year, the CRS allows our teachers to author their own assessments. So what that means is they can go in and actually create a test using release questions that mirror the ones that are on the state test based on the standards that they're teaching right then and there in their classrooms. Again, since we have all the teachers in the district under one roof now, we meet with them on a regular basis in their TPTs, look at that data, look at how their students are doing in relation to each other, from one room to the next, how the teachers can adjust their instructional practices, why one teacher is doing better than the other, and then our vision, getting our students, being able to group them by their ability. So if they're missing one standard over the other, how we can push them forward, the ones that are down here, how do we move them forward, ability grouping them, but being able to do that across the grade level, this has been a very great tool for us to use. We've seen that already, fifth grade math, for example, just in November, December, one of the first months that we rolled this out, we've seen a 27% increase looking at that data across that grade level, and that's a projection of how well they'll do on that standard in the state test.
Good evening, and thanks for coming to Maple Leaf. One of the things we sat down and talked about when we came together as a new team this year for a 4-5 building was how our PBS model was going to look different than when it was a K-5 situation. Mr. Glazer came from William Foster, myself and Tranter came from Elmwood, and we all have worked at one time or another at a middle school. And we know that we're preparing our 5th graders to go to middle school next year. So we mimicked the middle school model of be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. Every single day we start out with our morning announcements with those 3 phrases. We have it student-led every single morning, and we have a sign-up sheet where Ms. Tranter or another administrator is able to take those students down there, and they have a scripted orientation of what they're going to say each and every day. We also have a word of the day, an academic word that is valued throughout the building. It is tied into our CRS testing or our OST, and that word changes every single day. If you travel around any of our classrooms, you'll see those words being added to word walls, into the classroom, and the student notebooks. And then we also have a program called Caught Being Good. If you notice up on the screen right now, our Caught Being Good card can be filled out by any member of the community or any member of our school itself. And Ms. Trainer selects a few of those every day out of the pile to be able to announce those Caught Being Good. Any of them that are turned into the office are hung in the main hallway, as you can see as you walk down toward our 5th grade building. We also have monthly PBIS award winners, and we have 2 major awards. Our first is our Student of the Month. We do assemblies by grade level, 4th grade and 5th grade. And our Student of the Month recognizes 1 academic achiever in each classroom. We have 21 classrooms in the building, 19 classrooms of general education. Our cross-cat unit and our ED unit all get to recognize 1 classmate for academic achievement or most improved. And then we have our Top Dog Award, which is our best example or leader of our PBIS expectations. All of our Top Dog Award winners also receive a token to our book vending machine so they can earn a book to add to their library moving forward. You want to do the next one? You want this?
And get that in order. Okay, we are honored here at Maple Leaf to have the only staying game room in the district. That was funded by the Browns, and it has all these fun things going on in the room. We have the ribbon cutting ceremony back in the fall. Chosen students got to go in there and play on those wonderful things. There's a great picture too of one student sitting there reading while everyone else is playing around. I loved it. But it's really fun, and they get a chance to visit this room weekly as a class on their attendance and also on their behavior. The teachers give them dojo points for their behavior in order for them to visit this room. Not only did we have the room with the ribbon cutting ceremony, we have these 2 Browns players come out to the Browns room, I'd say it was around Halloween, and again, chosen students were allowed to go up there, and it's My Cause, My Cleats. They created cleats with the Browns players that they actually wore, I think it was about 4 Sundays ago during the Browns game. And a couple high schoolers came over as well and assisted with them with that. So it's super fun for the kids to go into that Browns game. So my push for attendance, this is where I do my daily check-in the lunchroom. I brought an incentive in. I notice attendance is not great. So I said, let me try to push it. I have a chart. Well, I go in and I write down every child that's absent after I get the attendance report. I go and I do a double check in the lunchroom at each lunch period. So I kind of explain to the kids what this is like. Well, they are catching on so well now. They don't even let me say the children's names that are absent. They'll tell you. We have this one absent, that one absent, and this one. And I'm like, thank you. But perfect attendance. For 3 days in a row, they get candy. 5 days in a row, they get a bag of chips. 10 days in a row, they get ice cream. We have reached 5 days in a row. So we're getting there. And it's really good, and they're excited about it. And when I'll say, oh, you're on day 1, and they'll say, do we get our candy? And I said, you got it. No, it starts over when somebody's absent. So they're catching on, and it's hopefully I'll start to see a surge. 5th grade is definitely beating my 4th graders. So they get excited when they know they're going to get candy.
Thanks to our partnership with the Browns, we also had the opportunity to nominate one of our students, one of our 5th graders, Kaden Thompson. Got to go actually to a Browns game. He was on the field. He was a kickoff kid for positive behavior and good attendance. After they kicked off, he ran out onto the field to the 50-yard line, grabbed the tee, and ran it back to the sidelines. And there you can see him in the picture with Chomps. So he loves sharing that. He loves talking about that. Literally every single day you tell him. He keeps asking me if he's going viral because I posted him to our Facebook and our Instagram. So, but great moment for him.
Another program we're especially proud of is our Heroes League. Last year we were fortunate enough in Garfield Heights to be the state kickoff for the entire statewide competition. If you're not familiar with Heroes League, it's a Chromebook-based game similar to Roblox or Minecraft, and it has a number of characters that while the students are exploring the open concept world, they're able to learn a number of character building traits. Again, we were able to have the founders of Heroes League come out and present to our students. And this year there is now something called the Heroic Garden, where if you look at the photo, every one of our elementary schools here in the district has what looks like a kiosk garden. We house ours in our STEM room upstairs, and the skills that the students are taught in the game translate into real-world gardening skills now. And if you were outside in the snowstorm this afternoon, our first take-home plants from the garden went home today. So the students are taking something from the digital world and they're bringing it here and using real-life skills at Maple. This is also an excellent addition to our school. This is Paige Bozeman. She is a member of the Community and Schools Partnership. This started a few months ago. She is now housed in our building every single day. She's really become part of the Maple Leaf family. So much so that we actually transitioned Ms. Fagan, our guidance counselor, into the same room with her so that they could tag team some different issues. As of today, there are 23 students whose families have approved their actions and are on a caseload within our building. There are another 17 students in the pipeline waiting parent approval, but they host a lunch bunch and additional SEL meetings outside of our Satchel Pulse curriculum. They also provide individual emotional support meetings, and they have done an excellent job of bringing community donations and hygiene products for our students. And just today, we had Target donate 2 $150 gift cards to 2 of our families, and they came and took a number of photos with our community and schools partners and our students. So thank you so much for People Services for providing us with that.
To close this out, I just want to highlight a few things that we have coming up here at Maple Leaf. So we just finished our classroom competition of our spelling bee. We're doing a school-wide spelling bee. So on December 14th, every single classroom hosted a spelling bee in their rooms. One person was crowned the champion of their classroom. When we come back after break on January 9th, we're going to host grade level competition. So the winners of the classrooms are going to move on and compete as a grade level. We'll have 1 grade level champion in each grade. Those 2 students will then compete to be the building champion. The building champion then will have the opportunity to move on. This is actually a national competition, so they'll go on to regionals and then have the opportunity to go on to compete with other students across the country. We will be live streaming the event throughout our building so the other students can watch it in real time. Every student winner of the classroom is going to get a medal, and the overall winner of the whole school will get a trophy. We have a readathon coming up. We're really pushing literacy in our building, so huge focus on literacy and to encourage students to read. Again, when we come back in January, every student will get a free book that was donated by the Cleveland Book Bank. And that will track their minutes and hours and, that they read at home on their own time in this program. They'll earn money for that, and they'll be able to in turn buy prizes with that money that they earn. We started a new program here too. This is called an organization called Beyond the Game. It's Guys with Ties, so we have a group of students. Their motto is look good, feel good, do good. If you can see them in the picture there, they each got their own tie, their own shirt, their own pants. They're going to actually wear them tomorrow if anybody wants to stop by and meet our Guys with Ties. But Mr. McQueen, one of our intervention managers, is running this group for us. He meets with the students once a month, talks to them about different character traits, and again, encourages them to look good, feel good, and do good. We also have coming up February 7th through the 9th, our PTO, led by Ms. Williams. They are going to be doing a scholastic book fair, again, to promote literacy, get books in the hands of our children, and that'll kick off our first night of parent-teacher conferences, so that'll be open to the public that night when our parents are here for an opportunity to shop. And lastly, Boys Hope, Girls Hope, again, with the building realignment. This is something that's not new to the district, but really a partnership that we want to promote as they are in our backyard. They're here in Garfield. So we want to make sure our 5th graders get nominated so that they can go through this program in high school and college and beyond. So we're really pushing that to our 5th grade teachers, meeting with them regularly. Right now we've already had, is that 10 students nominated? 10 students that were nominated, and a few that were actually selected and starting to go through that whole process. So we're really trying to encourage that partnership.
That's it?
Yeah. Questions for us?
Well, I would like to thank you guys for the wonderful presentation that you gave regarding all the great things that you guys have going on here at Maple Leaf, especially with the realignment of the district and the focus really on the 4-5 and transitioning them and preparing them for middle school. So this was some great stuff that you guys shared today. Do anybody have any questions for Ms. Tranter or her team? Any questions? Ms. Thomas has a question.
Just one question.
Sure.
So you guys talked a lot about the fun and innovative learning opportunities that are happening here in the building. Since you've begun the school year, have you found that you are seeing students begin to love to learn? Are they developing a different mindset about learning and engaging in the classroom?
I'm seeing a different culture, absolutely. I came on strong. They know I'm no nonsense, and they're getting it. And they do love to learn. I'm starting to see that they're hearing about their learning, because that's what our message was. You're here to learn so my teachers can teach, because your parents send you to school, they expect you to learn, and that's what our motto is. And I'm starting to see they're enjoying coming to school, they're enjoying learning. It's safe. The hallways, I like to see them as quiet as possible, because to me, then they feel safe. And no chaos, and I believe, that's just what I believe, and that's my belief. You're here, you're under my roof here, like it's my home, and you're going to be safe while you're here, and I'm going to send you home safe. You're mine, door to door. So I'm starting to see they're excited to come to school. There's a different change. It wasn't easy, I'm telling you that. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And then when we revisit it after break, of course, we're going to have to set our expectations again, and they're high, and they know that.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? One thing I can say is I appreciate you preparing them for independence and ownership of their education, because that's a skill that they're really going to need going into middle school and going into high school. And them acquiring these skills as early as 4th and 5th grade is great preparation for them to be successful as they move along. And one thing I'm finding as a common theme as this realignment of the schools is I think kids are finding a sense of belonging in these age group, with their age appropriate peers. And it seems like they're just kind of finding their own community. Are you finding that, and I don't know if you guys kind of looked at the data, but are we seeing an improvement in discipline in our 4th and 5th graders compared to last year now that we kind of have them in the same space? Or with the realignment and trying to get everybody adjusted, do we have some growth that we need to do in that area?
So as Mr. Anderson said, at the beginning of the year, there were some challenges. We had assembly after assembly after assembly. I will say with the realignment, the nice thing is tailoring our message to that age group. It was a challenge in previous years. We were talking pre-K to 5, such a wide range of age group. It was much harder to have that message of this is what we come to school for every day. These are our expectations. But now, if we notice changes in the building, we notice things are starting to maybe get a little crazy because it's getting close to winter break, wherever the case is, we jump on the PA, we have sometimes spontaneous assemblies where we bring all the kids down, we bring the whole 4th grade down, the whole 5th grade down, everything in the whole school, give them that same message so we're on the same page. At the beginning of the year, all of our teachers created a classroom plan. We started with our 3 expectations of being safe, being respectful, being responsible. Teachers were able to fill in their own. So it was very clear from day one, these are their expectations in the classroom. The teachers have that ownership, consequences and rewards for those in those classrooms. So I really think with the building realignment, it's been much easier to have those expectations, that common language throughout the building, and see an increase in those behaviors, or decrease, I should say.
Madam President, if I can jump in just a little bit, while I would love to place all of the credit on the realignment of the schools, it's the expectations of this team, the structures they created, and the expectations. When we're talking about high expectations, usually it's just something that we say, but when you can see it and feel it in the building, that is when some things will be changing in the building. And we've been able to see this for this building. So yes, the realignment of the district, of our elementary schools have played a huge part in this, but it's also about the expectation of these teams and these realignments. So I'm very proud of my elementary schools who have done those things, and through this tough process. It was definitely a tough process of realigning the schools and setting the different times, but they've done a great job with this.
Great, thank you. And even academically, just the data that you shared with, a 27% jump in that math data with the, was it the CRS?
The CRS.
Yes, just that heavy lift with, that's just phenomenal, which is showing just the educators having the opportunity to collaborate and work together, and just having that climate and culture, even just for our educators, just to be together, just seems to be effective for our students who are noticing that just on the academic level, and just the climate and culture of our educators in those teams.
What I'm noticing too is the staff I got dealt. I did get to hire a few people, but the staff I got dealt, I'm very fortunate. There are some really, really good teachers I inherited, especially from William Foster. I'm going to shout out to William Foster. I inherited some really wonderful teachers, and of course the people I got to take from Elmwood came along too. So these are the type of teachers that you tell them once, they listen. And You know, I can come back and say, you don't like when you tell kids 2 and 3 times, you know. I'm not gonna tell adults more than once. This is what I want in your lesson plans, and I have to check them. And I did check it, and I go back and I say, okay, where's your higher level questions? And they need to be highlighted, easier for me to find. They're all catching up. And so these are a great group of teachers that I'm in here. They are, and they're all about the academics. We rolled out the CRS, and they were doing it within the next day.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
good group of people.
wow.
I'm fortunate.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation and all the hard work that you guys are doing over here in Maple Leaf. Thank you. We're going to move to our next item on our agenda this evening, which will be our superintendent's report. Dr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Madam President. The Garfield Heights City Schools will be on winter break. Didn't want everybody to go crazy on that part right there, but we will be on winter break beginning Wednesday, December 20th, 2023, and will run through Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. School will resume with students and staff on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. On behalf of everyone in the Garfield Heights City Schools, I wish everyone in our school family a safe, restful, and joyous holiday with friends and family. Upon returning from winter break, as we enter 2024 together, I remind our students and families that the end of the second quarter is 1 week later, on Friday, January 12th. Let's do the very best that we can to encourage our students to study, to complete their work, and to attend school as best as possible during those final few weeks of the semester. Soon, testing season will be here later next spring, and the assignments and coursework being completed at the present moment all points to improving our test scores and preparing our students. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'd like to report to the Board of Education the awesome and powerful interaction that students recently had with members of our community just last week, as Mr. Bernard and more than 80 talented high school performers visited the Senior Center. I must communicate that between the 3 performances of our vocal ensemble teams and Music Express, our student performers were magical, and I mean magical. And the Senior Center was packed with nearly 100 citizens from our community who tapped their feet and clapped their hands during the upbeat holiday tunes, but who also shed tears in remembrance during those sentimental holiday songs that had a special way to make us think about the holiday seasons in the past. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Stephen Bernard, our veteran music teacher at the high school, for his job to prepare the students and train them with such vigor and talent. And of course, to the student performers who did a masterful job, and thank you to everyone who was also involved. Finally, a new initiative is emerging with full force in the Garfield Heights City Schools called the Top Dog Program. Now, this is an intentional program designed to further involvement of fathers and male figures in the school, in the child's education. Studies prove that active engagement from fathers and father figures in students' respective education vastly improves performance and prepares them for success. Gina Wilson, who is the heart of many of our community partnerships and well-being programs, is helping to spearhead the Top Dog program, and the community can learn more about this on our website in the very near future. Please keep on the lookout if you are a father, a male mentor to one of our students, and the Top Dog program is for you. This concludes my report, and once again, I wish all of you a very happy holiday.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Is there any questions regarding Dr. Reynolds' report this evening?
Madam President, I have a quick question.
Yes, Ms. Thomas.
Dr. Reynolds, is the Top Dogs program something that is individualized for our district, or is it a larger organization?
Yes, this is created through our district. However, it is a community effort. I just recently met with the mayor, as well as the police department, and some council members as well. And a little earlier, we met with some clergy members as well. to talk about this program and what we needed to do as a community. This is a community effort. They're fully behind this, especially the police department, who will probably be placing some information on their website as they continue to work through the community to respond to our needs. And our current needs are just to help our children, guide our children through on journey as we dismiss schools. A lot of the things that are happening right now are things that have to do with just us being a community and working together to just kind of guide our students. This is not an issue that is just limited to our school district, but to all school districts. And when things are happening or the perspective of things that are happening, then we need to come together as a community. And luckily we have been. So those things are working, and I look forward to this initiative. And there's also some rumors of a mom's initiative as well, of Moms on a Mission. So I needed to make sure I gave them a shout out as well, because they've been out there pushing kids along and just connecting with kids as well. So there are a lot of great things that are happening in this community.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the superintendent's report? If there's no other questions regarding the superintendent's report, we'll move to our next item on our agenda. Do we have any remarks on the report? Next item on the agenda is remarks from the public regarding agenda items. And we don't have anyone that has signed up for remarks from the public for agenda items at this time. So we'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is reports and recommendations from the treasurer. Can I have a motion to waive the reading of 8.1 and 8.2, move and waive the reading of items 8.1 and 8.2 on tonight's agenda?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion on these items? Anything you'd like to highlight, Mr. Oko?
Yeah, so we're 42% of the way through our fiscal year, and we are within 0.005% of our budget that we just aligned from our forecast. So we're looking pretty good from a budget standpoint. We're getting to that point of the year where the next few months are going to be just steady, maintained as we go into May forecast season. And then the other item on your agenda tonight is the approval of the district's participation in tax revenue advances with the county. This is procedural. We do this annually. It allows the county to forward us some settlement money from real estate tax revenue that we need to make district expenditures for operations like payroll and such. So this is just an annual procedural thing we do.
Is there any other discussion on items 8.1 and 8.2? If there's no other discussion, Mr. Oko, items 8.1 and 8.2 was moved and waived by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes. The next item on tonight's agenda, if I can have a motion to move away items 9.1 and 9.2 as noted on tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President, that would be with the revision that we made at the beginning of the meeting, right?
Yes, that's with the amendment. there any other discussions on item 9.1 and 9.2? And just for point of clarification, 9.1 was amended to state that the president pro tempore was going to be, the treasurer was going to be appointed as the president pro tempore. If there's no other discussion, Mr. Oko, that was moved and waived by Ms. Thomas and seconded by Ms. Morrison. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes. Motion to move away items 10, 10.1 through 15.1.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on items 10.1 through 15.1? If there's no discussion, Mr. Oko, that was moved in, items 10.1 through 15.1 was moved away by Ms. King and second by Ms. Morrison. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes. Can I have a motion to move and waive items 17.1 through 17.2?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. King?
I do have a question about Brewer Garrett, the amended contract, because I didn't have the original contract in front of me. So in 2025, when the contract ends, we're done with Brewer Garrett. And in the meantime, are we limiting the work and the scope of work that they're doing with us?
Yeah, so the amended agreement actually gives us more hours with certified HVAC technicians that we previously didn't have in the original agreements. In 2025, we are assessing and we have structured operations to no longer need this contract based on how it was written originally. The amended agreement is to give us the actual hours that our district reserves for actual HVAC work that previously was just someone would not licensed to do the work would come in, write up a proposal for us, and then we have to pay to have that proposal for the work to be done on top of paying the fee for Brewer Garrett to begin with. So the amended agreement, no one comes in and gives us the proposals, they just come in and do the work. And it is a significant amount of hours that Gary Moore was able to negotiate with Brewer Garrett on this. But yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on items 17.1 and 17.2? If there's no other discussion, Mr. Oko, that was moved and waived by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. King. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels.
Yes. At this time, can I have a motion to approve item 18.1?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Is this the, course we were talking about during the work session?
Yes, ma'am. This is yet an opportunity for our teachers who have wonderful ideas to now add an additional course offering at the high school that responds to the interests of our students as well. So we are very excited to get this going. And yes, this was done with the work of the high school and also Ms. Gina Baser as well with getting this going. So yes, this is.
So this will be in the 2020, 2024, 2025
Yes.
course catalog.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Is there any other discussion on this item? If there's no other discussion, Mr. Oko, that was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Can I roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels.
Yes. At this time, we have remarks from the public regarding miscellaneous school items. And we do not have anyone that is signed up for remarks regarding miscellaneous school items. Therefore, we can move to items 20.1, which is announcement of the next board meeting, which will be January 8th, which is our Board of Education organizational meeting. And right after our organizational meeting, we will have our work session. Special board meeting will precede that. And at this time, can I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting as of 7:06 p.m.? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Oko? That was moved by Ms. King, second by Ms. Morrison. Can I have roll call, please?
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels.
Yes. Tonight's meeting is adjourned.